Hello, everybody. My name is Zach Arrington. I'm a friend of Pastor Ricardo's. He asked me to speak to you guys today. I'm guessing he's a little tired. But yeah, I'm honored that he asked that I could speak for your congregation, and I think he's a great pastor. He's a good friend of mine. I met him through basketball camps that our church up in Ohio has partnered with down in Old Harbor for the past couple of years. I've been a part of it for the past two. I was planning on coming this year, but things didn't work out because there was a pandemic. So, really disappointed I couldn't come, but glad to be able to be sharing with you today. Some of you I may know, and others I hope to meet at some point. Um, I am a sports ministry guy. That means I use sports as a way to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with people here in the United States as well as overseas, like in Jamaica or in Ukraine or in China, different places around the world. I love being able to participate in the basketball camp. That's right up my alley. But for me, I try to use whatever skills or abilities that God has given me to help share Christ or just Christ's love. So besides sports, I've done trips in the States or overseas with just construction or yard work. I've taught people in different communities how to grow food in gardens. I've taught some business uh, courses overseas. And just all of those are just avenues that I use to bring Christ to people. Let them know that I care about them, let them know that God cares about them, and that He wants to be part of their lives. So one thing that I've learned through that is like anyone and everyone who's a Christian has some gift or ability that can be used for this. I don't know what yours may be. I just shared some of mine, but you don't have to be a pastor or you don't have to be a missionary to do these things. You can start small in your own community and see where God takes things. Um, I would just be praying and just be thinking about how God has gifted you, what are the needs that you see, and how you can come alongside them and work through them. I think that when sharing Christ, a lot of people fall into two camps. They either won't share by talking, but they're like, oh, just the way that I'm living my life is a testimony enough for people. And there's others that are like, I'm just going to be sharing with people about Jesus, and my goal is just to tell as many people as possible. While both of those are good, they're not fully developed. I think if you never share personally of how God has made an impact in your life and people only see what's going on, they don't really know why you are the way you are, why you do things the way you do them. So I think they're just missing out. You can't expect people to just know me like, oh, they're doing this because they're Christians and I want to be like them. You need to be able to share that. And if you're always just telling people, but you don't have that relationship, you don't live it out, um, you don't like really figure out what is going on in these people's lives, then that is also like off-putting to people. They're like, okay, you just want me to think like you do, but you don't really know about me. So I think caring for people and both by loving them and by showing them are very, very important things. Um, a couple of verses that I wanted to share with you guys are Matthew 5:13 through 16. It says, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand and give its light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So really, it's saying, like, live your life for God and let that show, but also don't be afraid of like who God has made you to be and how He's impacted your life. Like, be willing to share that with people. If you really love people, then you want them to know, like, this awesome gift that you have. You want to be able to share it with them. And I think that is really important in, like, my ministry is I can't always go deep with a lot of people when I'm in a different country for like a week at a time. It helps that I go to places multiple years in a row, and through Facebook and other social media stuff, I can keep in contact with some people. But I always try to partner with people that are on the ground, living day to day with people that we're ministering to. So like Ricardo, or other pastors, other ministers, who we can come alongside them and kind of boost their credibility, let people know that we think that these people are awesome and that they can continue to grow in their faith through them. Another thing I wanted to share is just like, this is from Acts 1:8, and it reads like this. But you shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you shall be witnesses to me in Jerusalem, in Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. I think that this is an important verse because it's saying, like, do all of this, not just like pick one, pick two. And a lot of people will do that. They're like, oh, I live here, and so my ministry is just to these people. Or like, I feel called to reach the people in Nepal or Australia, so I'm going to pack up and leave, and I'm not going to care anything about the people that I grew up around or that I know the most about, stuff like that. I think it needs to be a little bit of both, and that can look differently, and I'll explain that in a little bit, but you need to, the Jerusalem piece is like, that's your city, that's the people that you grew up with, that's the people that are most like you. They speak the same as you, their culture is very similar. They grew up experiencing what you've experienced. Those are the people you're going to be the easiest to connect with. Judea is like, that's your country. The U.S. is mine, so obviously the U.S. is really, really big. So I live in Ohio. So Hawaii, they're Americans, so there's things that we can connect with, but there's also things that I cannot. Or Alaska, or New York, or Florida. Like, these are all very, very different places than Ohio. But at the same time, we're all American. We all speak English. We all are like similar things. We're dealing with the same political stuff. So there's many ways to connect with them. The Samaria piece is interesting because the Samaritans and the Jews were enemies. And so this is God saying, like, hey, I want you to share this love with people that are not like you and that don't like you. And you maybe grew up not liking them. So I don't know what that looks like for you as a Jamaican, but this could be culturally, this could be different country-wise. Yeah, there could just be a lot of history, bad blood. So it could just look different for a lot of different people. And then the ends of the earth is pretty self-explanatory. So I'm trying, my personal goal is to try to go in person to as many countries as I can and be able to share the gospel at least once to one person. And I'm doing a pretty decent job so far. But this year has been hard because I have to be at my house the whole time. So, like, how can I do these things while staying here in Ohio? I can't even do camps here in the city. I can't go into the prisons like I usually do. So, what are some ways that I'm dealing with this? Well, one is I'm partaking in these Zoom calls. I've set them up for. I've gotten several different coaches of different sports to share with the Russian-speaking world. So, former Soviet Union countries like Ukraine and Russia and Kazakhstan. Some of them are Christian, some of them are Muslim. But just taking coaches and having them share with coaches and having it be filmed so people can watch it later, of just how they're using their platform as coaches to incorporate their faith with teaching, raising up the next generation of good leaders, of guys and girls, preparing them to be good citizens, good husbands, wives, parents, stuff like that. Which in many of these countries, that's kind of a foreign concept, where they're more focused about how can I use these kids to make me look better as a coach, as opposed to how can I be a coach to better these kids as players and as people. So it's been going really well. Another thing that I've been doing is helping get some pastors to train up pastors in China through, again, Zoom. So right now, China is seen as kind of the ones that have helped make this pandemic what it is. It started there, but this is also a good time to just help train our Christian brothers and sisters, to help train their people. Because in China, it's very, very difficult to get Bibles or get Christian literature and training in, especially as a foreigner. So this is an awesome opportunity for just training without flying over there and being watched and things like that. Another thing that I've been doing is just finding ways to financially help out ministries here locally and overseas, and around the country, just because I've been in contact with so many people over the years. I've been able to build relationships, and I can talk to them and be praying for them, and also through our company, the company that I work at, we've been able to send some money to help buy food and buy medical supplies, another like things that people need in different communities, and it looks different in all over the world. But yeah, that's been really, really fun. So those are things that I've been doing, but obviously your situation might be different. So what are ways that you can be focused in on your community? And in Jamaica, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like for you, but I am praying that you'll be able to find it, and you can be thinking about it. A great thing to be doing, and this is good for all over the world, and it doesn't cost you a thing, is just be praying. Be praying for pastors, be praying for missionaries, be praying for different groups that are hurting right now. Just be praying that they can find ways to care for the communities God has put them with. Be praying that hearts and minds can be opened during this time, that they will want to hear about Jesus and want to follow him. And if they know about him, that they'll just take next steps to go deeper in their walks, to just be stronger Christians and better leaders in their communities. Is be praying for governments to be wise and to be thinking about how to take care of their citizens. There's so many things you can be praying about. One of the things that I thought was really, really cool about Jamaica that Ricardo told me was that when this whole pandemic was starting, the Jamaican leaders decided that they wanted to have a couple days of fasting and praying as a country. And I thought that was really, really cool. And I've shared that with other pastors and ministry people here in the States and elsewhere. And they are like, man, I wish our country did that, or our state did that. So I want to commend you guys. You guys have a great opportunity to really grow the kingdom if you put your mind to it. I think prayer is such a undersold gift that we have. Just being able to talk to God directly, to ask Him. And I think as a church or as a town, like everyone praying about the same things can make a real big difference. So I just ask that you continue to pray for your country, for this world, and whatever you think God has put on your hearts. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you today. Thank you for being my friend, Ricardo. Thank you for what you're doing in Jamaica. I wish I could be there. I pray I can be there soon, and meet those that I don't know and see those that I do. Let me pray for you guys, and then I'll let Ricardo get back to whatever he wants to be doing. Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for who you are, and thank you for all of the different ways that you're moving and growing your kingdom through this pandemic and through just all of our lives, Lord. There's nothing about this that you didn't foresee, and that you're not in fully control of. I pray that you end this virus all over the world, and I pray that your kingdom grows deeper and wider through this. I pray specifically for Jamaica and for St. Catherine, that they can be light and salt to their neighbors and their co-workers and to their families. We love you so much. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, guys. Bye.